Your first product is ready to be shared with the world. And now all that's left to do is plan that perfect launch. If you've worked on a product launch before, you'll know that they involve a lot of things, some of which include goal setting, risk assessment, content planning, or deliverables. A go-to-market, or GTM plan, outlines the strategy and steps for a new product or feature release. For the purpose of this video, we'll create a product launch strategy for a fictional language learning app called Olita World. We'll show you how you can use Notion to create a go-to-market strategy from scratch and have your launch day planned to a T. This is what our final GTM page will look like by the end of the video. Let's start by creating a page for your GTM. In this projects database, click on New, give your new page a name, and add an icon and a cover image. First, we'll take a closer look at this Properties section at the top. Properties are pieces of information about each database entry, and they can come in many forms such as text, numbers, people, or dates. In this projects database, the team decided to set 5 properties. This means that every time a team member adds a new project to the database, they will be prompted to add the following information about each project. So let's fill in the gaps. Click into the empty space next to Timeline and specify a start and end date to your go-to-market plan. Do the same to select a launch date. This time, all you need to choose is one date. If you click next to a person property like this one, a drop-down will show up. Simply select your project's directly responsible individual, or DRI, from here. Either select their name from the drop-down, or use the search bar. The same applies for this property, which allows you to list the project's collaborators. Finally, team members can gauge how important the project is to the company by selecting the priority level. For now, just note that you can add a new property to your table at any time by clicking on Add Property here, hovering your cursor under Property Type, and selecting the property you want. Delete a property by clicking on the 6-dot icon next to it, then Delete Property, and delete again. Now let's move on to the body of the page. We will structure this GTM doc around 3 sections, which we'll call About, Execution, and Launch Day. Type /H1 and make each of these a large-sized header. In the About section, we should include everything about the launch that the team needs to know. As with any document in Notion, you can simply begin typing and use the triple dot Turn Into menu to style your text. Let's include a summary of the product, the teams and team members involved in the product launch, the goal, audience, and general breakdown of the product. Again, feel free to turn each of these subsections into headers. It's important to have all this information at the top to align all the cross-functional partners you're working with. This is what a full About section could look like. You can easily create backlinks to documents that are stored elsewhere in your workspace by typing the @ key followed by the name of the doc and selecting it from the drop-down. Collecting resources in this page will give readers ample context. Before we tackle the execution section, let's add a table of contents to the top of our page. Hit the / key, then the letters TOC, and select the first option at the top. This automatically generates a list of anchor links to the headings in your document. They're an easy way to jump to whatever section you want. In the execution section, we'll create an inline table that will host all launch deliverables. You'll need to hit the / key, type the word table, then select Table Inline in the drop-down. Name your table here, and add the properties you deem relevant. These will vary according to the needs of the launch. A quick way to add a property in a table database is to click on the plus sign in the rightmost column, name your new property, and select the property type from the drop-down. In this case, we'll want to specify the DRI. So let's name our property, then select the person property. We'll also want to capture the status of the deliverable. This can be done via a select property. Finally, let's add another select property specifying the team working on the deliverable. For this, let's simply click on this default tags property, rename it, and choose Select. Great! Now we can add deliverables in the first column. Keep in mind that every database entry is a page in itself. where you can store content in just about any format. From Figma files to PDFs, and from images to GitHub gists. This makes it easy for teams to collaborate at one central place, instead of using multiple tools. Let's add a DRI for every deliverable by clicking into the table cell and selecting a team member from the list. For this select property, we'll need to type out all the possible statuses a deliverable can have. Type a status, followed by Enter. Now, find a deliverable with a different status and repeat the same steps. Every option is given a default color, which you can change at any time by clicking on the 3 dots to the right and selecting another color from the list. Now, you can assign every remaining deliverable to its corresponding status. We'll do the same for our team property. Type out each possible option followed by Enter, then assign the deliverables that are left to the correct team. This is what a full page of deliverables can look like. As you can see, everything about this go-to-market strategy is kept in the same page, even this database. This helps keep everyone in the loop, something that is especially important in a cross-functional team effort like this one. Your team will likely host meetings about the launch, and store notes about these meetings somewhere else in your workspace. If that's the case, you may want to include links to these meeting notes. Let's assume that all of your team's meeting notes are stored in another database of the same name. This is something we recommend doing because it standardizes meetings and makes them accessible to everyone. Now, we'll go back to the Properties section. Click on Add a Property, name your new property Meeting Notes, and this time, select the Relation property from the Advanced section. With the Relation property, you can connect items in a database to items in another database. In our case, we'll want to collect our GTM page with its corresponding meeting notes. Let's select the Meeting Notes database and click on Create Relation. The last step is to select every meeting note by clicking on the blue plus sign to the left. If you can't find a meeting note in the initial dropdown, look it up in the search bar. Click outside the dropdown, and here are your links. Should you want to consult one of these documents, there will be no need to go to the database where they are stored. Just click on the meeting notes you want to see, and they will appear right here. For more information on relation properties, have a look at this video. Now, let's use the table of contents to jump to the last section of our GTM page. Our guess is that your team will be flooded with to-dos and action items in preparation for launch day. Why not add them here, together with their corresponding dates and team members? No need to create a database this time. We'll just use this space to type regular text. We'll add 2 subsections, one called Prelaunch Checklist and another called Last Day Run of Show. After hitting the / key, we'll type To Do, then Enter. This checklist format will appear, and we can start typing an action item. For instance, Mary to submit draft of Help Center guides by this Friday at 10 a.m. In order to notify Mary of this action item, we can tag her directly in the text. Let's type the @ key, then her name, and select it as soon as it pops up. Mary will be notified of this tag in the Update section of her workspace. What's more, you can make the state dynamic by, again, hitting the @ key, and this time typing out Friday 10 a.m., then Enter. Your dynamic date is created. This means that depending on when you read this, your date will change accordingly. For instance, next week, it will display last Friday at 10 a.m., and if it's further away in time, it will simply display the calendar date. Here's what a pre-launch checklist could look like. The launch day will look similar. We can type out action items in a checklist format and use the @ functionality to tag team members or add a dynamic date. Once an action item is complete, just click on the square. A check mark will automatically appear, and the text will be crossed out. Doesn't it always feel good crossing an item of your to-do list? Finally, our GTM page wouldn't be complete without a Postmortem section. You can use this space to look back at the work you did and measure its results. You can even pull in synced blocks with customer feedback or metrics by copying text and pasting it with Paste and Sync. Super! Our content is now final. Let's touch up this page with colors and images. We'll add background colors to every header so as to clearly distinguish sections. Let's click on the 6-dot icon next to each header, then hover our cursor over Color, and select a color background for this section. We'll select the same color for every subheader, and use different colors for our 3 remaining sections. To finish, we can upload 2 images at the top of our page. Then we can select both of these images and drag them to the left of our table of contents, which will create 2 columns in the process. A nicely designed page can make work more fun and engaging. This is the final look for our page. You should now have the tools you need to build your own go-to-market document from scratch, complete with the sections, databases, and checklists you want. You'll see how refreshing it will feel to have everything centralized in one place, from early ideas to final tweaks. With everyone on the same page, you can be sure to have a stellar launch.